So my colleague Chinchuan Zhou and I did a study where we examined whether how well these large language models will write an item, and so we devised a realistic psychometrician blueprint, and that's so that we can be subject matter experts. And we sampled 50 item topics, and we asked various large language models to write an item for each topic, and we evaluated the items that were written on a 4-point scale, with one being useless, two being major edits are needed, three being minor edits are needed, and four being acceptable as is. And you might wonder about the process of creating items. This is basically what we did. You write a prompt, like write a 4-option multiple choice item about psychometrics, specifically about, and then you put the item topic in there. And I don't have the word unidimensionality in my dictionary, so I misspelled it, and it copied the misspelling into the answer. But aside from that, I think this is a really good item. It's on topic. It looks like an item. It has a stem with a that ends in a question. It has three incorrect responses that are incorrect. It has a correct response. This is a really good item. But let's say that we want a little more scenario. So then we just modify the prompt to say begin with a scenario, and boom, we're talking about Sarah the psychologist who has a new measure. And this again is a pretty good item. But maybe we want the item to have shorter responses. So we tell it to ensure brief responses, and it updates again, and it gives us a new item. And this item has a typo. You are analyzing the unidimensionality assumption of the model, comma, which means that, and it just trails off. So we'd have to fix that. But this is a pretty good item. Now, maybe you want a little harder item. You want the item to be about testing the unidimensionality assumption. So we modify the prompt, and now we have an item. This is a fine item, a fine setup, and a fine question. The answers aren't horrible, but I'm not sure. Confirmatory factor analysis could be a response, but I'm not sure why exploratory factor analysis wouldn't be correct. And if you know anything about this, item response theory is a dumb distractor. But Cronbach's alpha is probably a pretty good distractor. So this is an item that would probably require, major edits. So I wanted to give you a sense of like creating items is like. And as an aside, that process of creating a simple prompt and then modifying is called prompt engineering. And you should know how to prompt engineer prompts. And if you get my slides, you can click on this link to go take a look at that resource. There's lots of resources available, but you should definitely know how to engineer prompts. So here, back to the study. Here are the outcomes, and the blue line represents the median. So the median for an obsolete version of GPT that was obsoleted last fall was 2. So 2 means major edits needed. And for GPT-3, the update that they did last fall, that's the current GPT-3, it went up to 2.5. It didn't change for GPT 3.5, which is the engine behind Chat GPT. That's probably not surprising. The big breakthrough with that model was that they made it run faster, probably like the Distilbert that I mentioned in passing a few slides ago. And then GPT-4, it rises to 3. So my conclusion from this. Oh, and by the way, I think Palm is probably about as good as Chat GPT. So probably Palm would be somewhere over here, but we don't know for sure right now. So yes, these large language models can definitely write exam items. Most of the items written were useful, not every last one, but most of them. Most of them will also require edits. The models are clearly getting better, although they have a long way to go from having an average item of 4. The items were not dramatically inappropriate, but you're definitely going to need subject matter experts to review these items and to fix them. This is still an assistive technology. It is not a replacement for human SMEs. And I do hope that the SMEs will be more productive in revising AI generated items, but I don't have any data on that. And I do want to make a point. We only studied psychometrics, so I can't generalize. I don't have data to generalize beyond that. But psychometrics is a pretty, and we're pretty sure that it can't write about any topic. But psychometrics is a pretty obscure corner of the knowledge domain, and so I do think that you'd probably find it having the ability to write items about a pretty wide variety of topics.